Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to discuss the next answer copy of our aim for agriculture series. So as you all know that we are having aim for agriculture series in which we are having daily answer writing practice and weekly full tests. So today we are going to discuss the copy of day 43. We have already discussed copies till day 42. So we will see what were the questions asked in day 43 and how the student has approached the answer. And by analyzing these types of copies, you can also improve your answer writing practice. You can understand how to introduce, how to conclude, how to write certain points, how to structure your answers, how to write certain examples. So all these things can be very helpful to you. So let's start. The first question is, discuss the production and origin of aneuploids. Okay, so what is aneuploid? It is the presence of an abnormal number of chromosomes in a cell, either more trisomics or fewer than normal. Okay, monosomics. That is, if they are in more number, they will be known as trisomics, or when they are fewer number, they are known as monosomics. Okay, so I must let you know that all the ploidy, let it be aneuploidy, polyploidy, even questions have been come, so the question have come from haploids. So all these things should be nicely prepared because these are all important topics, and a lot of questions have been asked from these topics in previously. At least one question from any of these will come every year. When you analyze the question papers, you can definitely find it that every year or alternate year you can find questions from these topics. Okay, so let's see the origin of aneuploids, as the question is asking production and origin. So all one thing I must let you know, although it is not a big thing, but you should notice in the question when you look at the question is first asking production then origin. So what student has done, the student has written origin first, and you will see when we come down, then the student has written production. Although there is no issues on it, but if you can, you should maintain the structure as demanded in the question. The question has asked production first, please do write production of aneuploids first, then origin, then you have to write origin. So if you should follow this, because these small things sometimes matter. So please do follow the structure as asked in the questions. So let's start. Origin of aneuploids. So they can be originated from non-disjunction. So I will be just discussing the important points. What are the important points which have been discussed? And if you want to read the answers in detail, you can simply pause the video and read it. And if you have some problems, because especially in paper 2, these questions are from paper 2, so many times you could have problem in conceptual clarity. So if you have that problem, you should refer the static videos in the playlist which I have made, where you will be able to clear your concepts. Okay, because I have discussed all of these things in detail, so you should refer those videos. Okay, so if you want to read the answer, simply pause the video and read it. Okay, so origin of aneuploids, it can be originated from non-disjunction during meiosis. Okay, they can be induced using radiation or chemicals. Okay, there are various chemicals. There could be induced through use of mutagens. You can see examples have been clearly written by the student. So you add examples in the support of your point, so that clearly enhances your answers. Okay, they can be uh, originated through somatic mutations. So that is another one, and you can see again examples of cotton have been mentioned. So all these things enhance your answer. Now let's move to the second part of the question, that is production of aneuploids. Through various breeding techniques we can produce aneuploids. Okay, for example, in wheat, the examples of wheat have been mentioned. We can utilize the trisomics in identification of gene location for specific trait improvements through which we can produce aneuploids. So these have been mentioned. We can produce aneuploids from polyploid crops also. So fairly written answer, although not more points have been mentioned, but all these points are very nicely written and the examples have been fairly mentioned. So that is what the question asks. Okay, demand of the question is nicely fulfilled, and you can see how nicely it is concluded. Instead of writing some vague sentences, the student have nicely mentioned how aneuploids or polyploids, anything can help us in disease resistance, improved yields, better adaptability, environmental stress, better adaptability to environmental stress. All these things enhances your answers, and these small things give you a lot of edge when you are writing the answers in examination hall. Okay, now let's move to the second question. The second question is, highlight the objectives and impact of national agroforestry policy. Again, you can see the student has written impacts first, but you will see the question is asking objectives and then impact. So you should follow the pattern, you should follow the structure as asked by question. Okay, so we all know that national agroforestry policy which came in 2014, so it has various objectives and various impacts. We will see it. First of all, as the student has written the impacts of national agroforestry policy, obviously it has enhanced productivity. Okay, because trees in the field help us in providing shade. The shade loving crops can nicely grow. Okay, they improve soil health, they help in nutrients recycling, they provide organic matter to soil, they enhance the biodiversity of plant and animal species near the soil, many types of microorganisms which are beneficial for soil, many types of rodents, small organisms which are beneficial for soil can have can live on these trees. So that can be another helpful. It helps to economic diversification. Obviously the farmers get timber from trees, leaves from trees, pods from trees, vegetables, fruits, many things could the farmer can get from trees. For example, the example of moringa has been mentioned here, so well written answer. It also helps in climate change mitigation. There are certain challenges also which have been mentioned by the student, because the initial investments are high. There are some kind of broader knowledge required by farmers, which is a problem, especially in India, because most of the farmers are small and marginal and lack that kind of broader knowledge. Okay, land competition could be another problem, as you all know allopathy. For example, many times when you grow eucalyptus as a agroforestry crop, so many times you will see that the crops grown with eucalyptus will show reduced production, because this eucalyptus has allelopathic effect with the crops. So competition could be another problem. So we should choose the trees which are uh, supplementing the crop growth instead of competing with the crop growth. So that is one other thing we should keep in mind. Knowledge gaps are there. Pest and disease emergence. Sometimes some trees give host to certain kind of pests which then damage the crops. Now we can say agroforestry, sorry, objectives of agroforestry and national agroforestry policy have been also mentioned. That is policy and framework, enhance productivity, sustainable livelihood, promote environmental sustainability, mitigate climate change. The fairly written answer, but as I have mentioned here, follow the structure asked in question. And one thing I must also let you know, that give every part of the question the equal importance. You can see in the question objectives and uh, objectives and impacts have been mentioned. You can see the student has given a lot more space to impact. The impact have been very nicely explained, its challenges have been mentioned, but you can see when it comes to objective, it has been very briefly mentioned. So it's not about brief or broad, but you should give all the parts of the question equal importance, because they will all fetch you equal amount of marks. So that is another thing you should keep in mind. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, briefly discuss the various agroclimatic zones of India using suitable map. So let's see. We all know that there are 15 agroclimatic zones in India, and you can see there could be improvement in maps. Okay, the map needs to be improved. So whenever you, as a student of UPSC, you should also try to practice maps, okay? Because it will be required in your in most of many answers in mains, because it could be required in geography, it could be required in environment, it could be required in your optional such as agriculture. There could be some times when you need maps. So you should have a fair amount of practice of maps. You not need to make very great maps, but at least it should be clearer and fair. You can see the math is very vague. The map is very vague, and many times this irritates the examiner. So you can make a more clearer maps. Okay, there could be improvement in this. With practice, you can do it. So we all know that India has 15 agroclimatic zones. All the zones have been mentioned. First one is the Western Himalayan region, and you can see here the student has structured very well. The zone have been mentioned, the states have been mentioned, and the crops have been mentioned. Okay, so if you want to read the answers, you can simply pause the video and read it. Then we have Eastern Himalayan. First of all, we have Western Himalayan, Eastern Himalayan. Then we have Lower Gangetic Plains. We have Middle Gangetic Plains. We have Upper Gangetic Plains. Then we have Trans Gangetic Plains. Then we have Eastern Plateau and Hills. You can pause and read it. I will give you a little bit of time to pause and read. States have been mentioned and also crops have been mentioned. So very well written answer. Eastern Plateau and hills have been mentioned. Central Plateau and hills have been mentioned. Western Plateau and hills have been mentioned. Southern Plateau and hills have been mentioned. And everything rainfall has been written in short. And you can see the climate type has been described in 1 2 line. Then states have been mentioned and crops have been mentioned, and that is enough. And the structure that the student followed here, although there was lagging in map, but the structure was very good. Then we have eastern and western, eastern coastal plains and hills. Then we have western coastal plains and hills. Then we have Gujarat plains and hills, and at the end we have western dry region and highland region. So very well written answer. All the things have been nicely explained. So I hope you understand all the parts of the answer. You understand these small things which are required while writing answers, and these things can be very helpful to you. So that is all for today. Please do press the like button if you like the video. Please do share, and please do subscribe. It takes a lot of hard work to make such videos for you on regular basis. रेगुलर बेसिस पे ऐसे वीडियोस को बनाने के लिए काफ़ी हार्ड वर्क लगता है. एंड इफ़ यू लाइक, इफ़ यू शेयर, इफ़ यू सब्सक्राइब, it motivates us to make more such videos for you regularly. So that is all for today. Have a nice day. Thank you.